Alright, so, yeah, next episode, got somewhere to be, so I might not be able to finish the whole area at one time, but I think I'm going to split this up into two parts anyway, because the Undead settlement is, it's very long. Definitely a large, I don't know, large, area with tons and tons of stuff to do. Also there, the boss that we get there is actually the boss that you get the weapon that we're going to be using for a lot of this run. So go to your Undead settlement bonfire. And I think the first thing that we're going to do, actually, is work on fulfilling Yoel of Londor's questline. So here's a really good place to die. You check your inventory. How many dark sigils do you have? You have one. So basically, like, the reason that actually matters at all is because when you have one dark sigil, it's just that one that you got from drawing out true strength with Londor. And basically, the amount of dark sigils that you have determines how much hollowing you get when you die. So basically, the first level you get from drawing out true strength is free. Second comes with 2 hollowing. The third is at 6 hollowing. The fourth is at 12, and the fifth is at 15 hollowing. So you basically just need to kill yourself a bunch of times, and you'll go hollow. It'll make your character look like a piece of beef jerky, and you get a bunch of free levels. So. If I had longer loading times, this would be much more of a pain, but fortunately it's not too bad. Your souls, I have 19 right now. You will lose your ember from this, but it's fine. You should have a lot. By the way, a good way to farm those embers is those transforming guys that we killed with the fire bombs in the last area. They're guaranteed to drop embers every time you kill them. So it costs a couple fire bombs to get, or a couple arrows to get an ember, and embers are worth a lot. They're worth 2,500 souls in a lot of cases, so definitely a good thing to have. So we can check our character now. We have 2 hollowing because we died twice with 1 dark sigil. I'm not going to go to souls because I don't care. So now we're going to go back to Firelink. Go and talk to Yoel.
I would enchant them.
And we can pick whatever we want. So we have 16 vigor, 16 strength, 16 dexterity. I'm gonna go with dexterity, just because the weapon that we're gonna be getting for a lot of the run is scales a little bit better with dexterity than with strength. So we're gonna level that up.
Be safe.
And we're gonna run back out. We haven't actually done Barrett's quests yet, so we don't have to talk to him. Now that we got another true strength, now we have 2 dark sigils. So then we're gonna have to die 2 more times in the Undead settlement, and that'll get us to our 6 hollowing. Because now that you have 2 dark sigils, you get 2 hollowing per death. So now we've died again. And 4 hollowing. Die 1 more time. So something that I said in the last video, or 2 videos ago maybe, is that under 30% load, equip load is light roll. I think it actually might be under 40. So just check that on your own, and you should know. So now I think we are at 6, and that should be enough to be able to get our next free level. Yoel, don't be stupid like me. Go this way. Oh, if you spam roll as you hit the ground, you won't, have to. We're gonna get another dexterity. You won't have to kind kind of do that landing
Be
animation
safe,
where your character
champ.
kind of recovers from the really short fall, honestly. So now we've gotten that, and now we should have, since we talked to Yoel again, we have 6 hollowing, and we have our 3 dark sigils. So 2 more deaths for 12 hollowing. To the Undead Settlement bonfire. I think they purposely placed that cliff there, next to the bonfire, just so you can easily do Yoel's part of the quest line. It's a bit boring, so you can honestly just fast forward through this part. It's really not worth it. But if you're really trying to do copy exactly what I do, yeah, so don't do this if you're planning on doing a no deaths run, obviously. And here we are. We still have our 3 dark sigils and 12 hollowing. Go back to fireline. Talk to Yoel.
I then shall be.
And I think I'm gonna put my next one into vigor.
Be safe,
Strength.
champ.
Not necessarily because I need vigor, but just because vigor is nice to have. I usually end up playthrough with like 25, but a lot of times people are gonna want to go up to 40 at least, because the meta level in this game, which is basically like the level that a lot of people do PvP at, so that most people can can kind of get matchmaking fairly easily, is level 120, and 40 vigor is pretty good for that. So there I just killed myself real quick because I didn't want to have to travel all the way back, because now I have 16 hollowing, and I should, if Yoel's not dead yet, because he might be dead, I should be able to get another weapon. Yep, here we are. And I have to draw it strength for the last time. Get my strength to 17.
Be safe.
And you see here, you hear his voice change there. That's not what he usually says when he's leaving us. We head out. So I'm just gonna go up and kill myself one more time, and Yoel will be dead. And a new NPC will take his place, actually. So you don't have to worry about buying all the items that he had beforehand, because a new NPC will take his place, sell the same items and more, actually. So that's something that you don't really have to worry too much about, which is something that you did actually have to worry about in Dark Souls 1. Those characters like leaving and just not coming back. So there's Yoel, dead, turn around. And there's this character who resembles a Canehurst Knight from Bloodborne.
I am alone.
It's Uria of
Another
Longdor.
matter that bag for the Undead.
And here you see it's the same spells, plus some more things. More of those rings of sacrifice, some rings that are completely useless, and the Dark Hand, which is actually a pretty good weapon if you're doing a fist build or a dark build or
Till
any of
we
that
meet
stuff,
again.
so it's pretty nice. Actually, let me hit talk with her, because there's actually a quest line
That'll
that
bag
you
for
can do.
Till we meet
But
again.
it seems as if that quest line has not started. That'll start after we get through this area. So, yeah, it's a pretty lengthy process that I don't really want to deal with. So if you were skipping through the hollowing quest line, that is the end of that. So now we're going to get into the real level. And I'm probably going to go through this level a little bit faster, while still trying to talk about things. So I'm going to be running past more enemies and things like that, and maybe skipping some items, but I'm going to try to cover as much as possible, but I don't want this to get too long. So I'm going to show off some of the Claymore's moveset here. Claymore has a really nice moveset because he has thrust attack. It's really strong attack with thrust. Rolling attack with thrust. The running attack is the spin move, which is also actually highly useful. So here, you're going to knock down that body to grab the small little shield, and that is actually the shield that we're going to be using for the majority of this run, because, let's just show you. So the Knight Shield has this parry. Well, the small shield has this parry, which has many more parry frames than this one. So it has much more forgiving time frame, makes parrying easier. There are certain bosses and enemies that you just go through those boxes, come over to this enemy, running attack, you should one-shot it if you're doing what I'm doing. Pick up this charcoal vine bundle. That's sort of like the gold pine resin that we found earlier, but it lasts a little bit less time with the trade-off of adding more damage, but it's fire damage, obviously. Hit this body down. That is the Loretta's bone that Grey Rat was looking for. So we're gonna pick that up. And then now you see that enemy right here, the Evangelist. My bad. You basically what we're gonna do, because there's enemies all over this place. They don't see you yet. What we're gonna do is we're gonna run straight past that Evangelist. Pick up an item behind him, which is an Estus shard, and then run around this way, around the tree, and there will be an ember right there, and then we're going to drop off before we can get hit by anything, hopefully. Also, in that house that we just dropped off of, there's actually a lower area that you can go into, and there will be another set of charcoal vine bundles in there. So if you run out of them, you're going to really want them for a boss. So if you start running out of them, come back here, you can get more. So here we're going to start the run, and this is basically how you do it. Because the Evangelist does get up right as you get close. Over here. Don't worry about getting it. Come down here. Go into this guy, stagger him. Grab Titanite shard. And quickly go this way. There will be two of those guys that you running attacked earlier. They're actually really annoying. Their attacks do a good amount of damage, plus they're fast and hard to hit. So I forgot to ember up, so I'm going to do that. We're not going this way across this bridge just yet. We'll do that as pretty much the second half. So finish the first half, and we don't get to that point, then we'll just do that later. So open this door. Don't worry about if you're getting too short. That thing will activate, but it shouldn't hit you. And then this guy comes in with you, just roll. That's the first time I ever had him follow me before. Break that table and look at this item here. Just roll straight into the body. Just get this large soul. Which is a good amount. I think it's 800 souls in here. These guys are actually weak to thrust damage, which is a good way for me to introduce why it is having a poke animation on the roll is good. It's because if I had hit that with this, that does slash damage. That attack does slash damage, you see. It does standard damage and thrust damage. Standard just means slash. So slash damage, is okay against certain enemies, thrust damage is good against others, and strike, which is like maces and things like that, is pretty much the best in the game. But also it comes with more of the slow weapons like great hammers and things like that. So now we're going to drop down this hole, and we're going to get the Warrior of Sunlight Covenant. So we're actually going to do that instead of the Way of Blue, just because it's cooler, and it's Solaires from Dark Souls 1. That's just cool. Drink the Estus soup if you're taking health loss, and that will refill your health all the way. So now we're just going to walk out the door. And if you hit lock on, you'll notice that some of these are those enemy versions. There's none over here, but there's a couple down that hall. And normally, see this hole up here in the roof right here? Those thralls that we killed earlier would jump through that. So I'm going to slash at this. Damage, right? Roll and you do 192. So the only difference is the fact that thrust damage, slash damage. These guys are pretty easy to kill. You can roll into them as well. Yeah, so we're just going to move on through here. For the sake of the episode, I'm going to take you down through here, but just know that this isn't necessarily the ideal route that you're going to take. Because that Evangelist over there starts shooting stuff at you, and that will do tons of damage. And cause a lot of bleed damage as well. You can hear there are walls, and it's here, and that's pretty much all we need from that so far. So we're gonna run all the way back up this, trying not to get hit by that Evangelist. We're gonna so this is something that I learned watching speedrunners. Grab this Soul of an Unknown Traveler, walk up this rock, and angle yourself like this, and just walk right off. You'll land, you won't take too much damage, and you'll get a Titanite shard without having to go past any enemies, which is really nice because it's much safer. Now we're gonna go this way. We're going to go up here. As you see, I got tons of blood buildup. If you hit others twice, you get blood loss. These are actually probably some of the hardest in the entire game to kill. So grab that Titanite shard after running past here, and away. So we're going to be coming to our next crystal lizard. You see it down there. So what we're going to do is do this jumping over here. Grab this and run down, roll. Yeah, so that crystal lizard will, or as you saw, it disappeared, so we're going to quit out. Because crystal lizards do not respawn when you sit at a bonfire. They actually only respawn when you reload the area, so quitting out is a good way to do that. And it's respawned. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sprint at it and do your strong attack, and that will do a jumping, sort of like a pseudo plunging attack, which will knock the crystal lizard over. And if you don't one-shot it, strong jumping attack like that will always flip it over, which makes it unable to teleport away. So that's really nice. Now come over here, grab this bonfire, and rest. So actually, we're already almost at the boss now, but we're gotta get invaded by the Mad Spirit Holy Knight Hodrick, who spawns him up there. He wields a really good weapon called the Flamberge, which is sort of like this weapon, but it does slightly less damage with a little bit of extra bleed effect to it. So come through this bridge so you don't get attacked by that giant over there, and now he's gonna come try to attack you. So he's actually not the easiest NPC to kill. Not hard either, but he uses this, which I think gradually heals him, which is always annoying. He'll heal himself. Good thing about the flame staggers him very well. And we aggro the giant also. That makes this a little harder. I'm gonna try to run around the giant. Right, we can get a first attack on Hodrick and kill him. So there's a guy on YouTube giving this information saying that if you kill him, you can't do an NPC. So you're gonna want to kill him here. Get the vertical shackle and kill this guy. The claymore staggers him after, I think that was 3 hits, maybe it was 2. But that's good to know because that enemy has some oddly good poise. Usually doesn't drop anything. So right now, we did not pick the Young White Branch starting gift yet, so this area is going to be a little bit precarious because there's a giant in the tower over here, I think, that's going to be shooting arrows at us the whole time we're running through this area. So I'm actually going to kill this guy so I can explain what you need to not get screwed over. So basically what's going to happen, we're going to run through here. There'll be enemies around that white birch tree. Anytime you see a white birch tree like that, there'll be a giant shooting arrows. So there's that item. We're going to have to run and jump to that real quick. Now they shot the arrow, now we're going to go for it. And jump. Oh my god. Yeah, that's really annoying. So, fortunately, they put the bonfire really close. But those arrows are really deadly because not only do they hit you and do a good amount of damage, they also knock you over. So that's always a pain. So we're going to run through here. We're actually not going to kill this guy this time. And then run and jump off. Roll when you hear those coming. Should kill a bunch of those enemies. Not all of them, I guess. Grab the Mortician's Ashes, which we can give it a try again. Come down here, grab this, and roll away. Because our Thrall will try to do a second attack on it. Beat that one up. the ones with the great swords actually do a little bit more damage and have a little bit more health. So they tend to be very over here. This door, roll through it. Stairs. Turn around and jump. Got this great scythe here. Up here. Some sort of cathedral-looking area. And open this door. Don't go in there. It's the boss fight. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a homeward bone and go all the way back to the shrine bonfire, because I'm gonna do something with a character's quest line, and then from there we're just going to reload the game a few times to trigger the quest line, and then I'm going to end the episode there, because that's about halfway through that area. A little bit less than halfway, but basically halfway through that area. But this episode's getting a little bit long, and uploading videos in 1080p 60 FPS is much longer than I expected. So go up to Grey Rat, give him the little zone.
Almost ready to meet that man.
He chills here for a
Goodbye.
second and quit out. So, this thing with Grey Rat's really annoying, actually. I kind of hate that he has this Heavens, he's already dead phase. You get an emote from him, but now you have to reload the game again. I mean, you don't have to. Like, they intend for you to leave and then come back to the area, and then leave and then come back to the hub. And, you know, he progresses, but that's annoying, and I want him to get to the point where he does his thing. So, we're going to come back, and... Actually, I think in this episode, we're going to fight the boss, because... once Grey Rat's at this point, you send him to pillage. You get to do this 3 times, and every time he goes to pillage, he gets new items. We're going to check with Andre, see if we have enough to upgrade this. We do not yet. Then we're going to reinforce our Estus Flask with the Estus Shard. And I guess I'll take this moment to kind of explain the infusions. They're actually more than raw, fire, and refined. I mean, I have a refined one already. So refined doesn't show up here. The Claymore has refined. It has the Shriving Stone, which basically gets rid of the infusion. So you do have the opportunity to undo things, but it doesn't give you back the material, so still choose wisely. So I explained raw just takes away all your scaling you see, and just converts it to flat base damage, which is actually less than the amount of damage that I have with scaling now. And then fire does pretty much the same thing, but gives you physical and fire damage. Now the thing that I was saying with split damage is, you know, 129 plus 129 is much greater than 214, about 34 more damage. But the reason that they give you that extra damage is because some enemies are resistant against fire, and that split damage means that you'll be getting their defense against physical taken away and fire taken away. So for example, if they have 50% resistance against fire, 58% against physical, you're going to be dealing, you know, only, you know, half this damage. Or let's say 20% against physical and 50% against fire. So you're going to be losing, you're going to be doing about like 100 damage with physical, but you're only going to be doing about 70 with fire. So you're doing about 170 damage. This isn't a great example, but you see like the fire thing does a lot more damage, but if you take 20% off 214, you're also dealing about 170 damage. So while the fire seems to be doing more, the fact that it's split damage makes it so that it doesn't necessarily do that. So I'll explain the other infusions as they come. So now that we've done Grey Rat, every time you send him to pillage, what you're going to want to do is reload the area again. And make sure you reload the area here, because while you're still in Firelink, not by going to a different area, because I made this mistake once and it really pissed me off. Where basically, like, once he's gone, I think he should be gone. No, he's not gone yet. Alright, whatever. So basically he's supposed to like leave. I'm not really going to worry too much about it. But basically, once you send him off to pillage, he should leave. And once he has left, once you kill another boss, he'll actually come back and he'll have more items on him. So, yeah, hold on, let me see. Yeah, apparently sometimes he doesn't leave, like it's just random chance sometimes he doesn't leave, but if he has left Firelink and you go and kill this boss, he'll actually come back and have the items from pillaging the Undead Settlement, which some are unique, some you can only get from Grey Rat, so you're going to want to be aware of that. I'll try to guide that better than me, but if he hasn't left, just kill this boss and move on, because we're going to want the weapon. Still get hit by the arrows. The charcoal pine bundle. See that big tree? That's the boss. So the way this tree boss works is, you see these little like ball things on it? Some of them are going to be low enough when it activates for you to hit them, and you actually can only damage the boss by hitting, you know, the sweet spot, basically. It's totally disgusting, but that's how it works. So you're going to not want to get too close, but you want to aggro these enemies to you, so they're not attacking you while you're in the boss fight. Yeah, so basically there's two phases. The first one is... Actually, you know what? So basically, there's something that we're gonna technically, I'll show you next episode, so don't fight this boss if you want to do something that I'm going to show you the next episode, and then come back to this episode if you want, but next episode I'm going to show you an NPC quest line that you can only get if you find it before the tree breaks the floor and falls through the floor, because he kills the NPC when he does that. So, next episode I'm going to show you something, so don't fight this boss right now, and then come back to this for the tutorial of how to beat it, which is what I'm about to show you. Because yeah, there's a thing where you hop in like a guy's, like, you know, he's got a container on his back and he carries you down to under this boss arena, and you talk to a guy and he gives you a covenant. Which is really a crappy covenant. But it's the only one where you can be a mad spirit, so that's something. But PvP is not my forte anyway, so I'm just gonna go kill the boss because I think it's fun. Anyway. So I think this red guy is the last one that you can aggro. You cannot aggro that guy who's real close right there. You cannot aggro him without activating the boss fight. So I'm gonna want to go and just kill this guy. If he ever comes on over here, give me some encouragement. What? All right. Also, headshots do more damage in this game. So just don't be an idiot like me and this. Now, run up, use your pine bundle. Boss will activate. Miss his leg, get his hand. The fire damage is so much extra damage against this boss. New shield. Activate the bonfire. And head on back to the first Undead settlement bonfire. So, you saw that we got, from him, we got this transposing kiln and his soul. Those are both things that we're about to use to make a weapon. But if you don't want to do that yet, you can kind of just go on to the next episode from this bonfire, and that will be where we start kind of doing the next half of the level. So that's actually an optional boss that we just killed, but it's basically not optional if you want to get a ton of different cool weapons. So head on to Firelight Shrine. A lot of setup stuff. Move to the next episode if you don't really care, or if you didn't kill that boss yet. Because if you haven't killed that boss yet, then you should not, you won't need to come back here. So I'm going to talk to the Shrine Handmaiden. I'm going to give her those magician's ashes. And that unlocked, I think, the Alluring Skull. I think it unlocked this, unlocked some embers, things like that. And we're going to actually buy this grave key. So don't spend your souls before you come here. We're going to buy that grave key.
Ashen one, be sure.
And we're going to go to the bonfire right here. We're going to burn that undead bone shard we found. So now you see, bottom left, my SS flask is now +1. So it'll heal more. See, +1. It'll heal more. And then we're going to go up here to the second from the top throne on the left. And talk to Ludwig. He's pretty useless. He's a funny little dude. And you first you're going to want to give him the transposing kiln that you just got from the Curse-Rotted Greatwood. So basically what that is you can use these twisted souls that you get from bosses to unlock some weapons. So Vort's Great Hammer, one of the best Great Hammers in the game, requires 30 strength, or 20 if you use it two-handed. But it has 110 frost damage, which means that on bosses and enemies that are susceptible to frost, it'll take like 2 hits, and some that are particularly weak to it, it might even take 1 hit to deal frostbite, and frostbite just does a ton of damage to the boss, and I think also makes it easier to guard break it, but I'm not 100% sure if that's true. And what you can do is if you they call it procking, like proc frostbite, if switches to cause frostbite. If you do that, and then you throw like a firebomb at the boss, that resets the frost, so you can just hit him again, and it'll restart the frostbite cycle. So you can get massive damage with that. But we don't have the requirements for that, nor do we want to use it. And our source spear is trash, which uses the soul rotted greatwood, and the great hammer uses the soul of Vort. Of the Boreal Valley. So this left eye says it recovers HP with successive attacks. Nowhere near as good as it sounds. You have to land like 6 attacks real quick, or like 4 or 6 attacks like real fast, and it only heals like, I don't know, like 5% of your health. Like it's not worth having. I think the 2,000 souls from it are actually better. But for the sake of the playthrough, I'm just gonna pick it up. Why not? Because 2,000 souls doesn't really mean too much to me right now. And then we're gonna pick up this weapon, the Hollow Slayer Greatsword. Which is actually upgraded not using normal Titanite. Since it's soul transposed, you upgrade it using Titanite scales, which I'll show you in a minute. And it uses 1,000 souls and the soul of the Greatwood to buy it. So if for some reason you don't want to buy it, which I don't suggest because I think it's the best greatsword in the game, then you can either sell to the Shrine Handmaid or use, like as a consumable, the soul of the Rotted Greatwood, and that'll give you 3,000 souls. So we're gonna get that. And you'll see this is why we got that 18 dexterity, because it actually requires 18. And it looks like the scaling is worse, right? This does 149 plus 67, this one does 145 plus 42. So we're losing about 29 damage there. But this weapon's moveset is just amazing. It has the Dark Souls 2 Greatsword moveset. It actually has lore significance because it's Lucatiel of Mira's sword. And that moveset is awesome. And it also uses less, stamina than the Claymore, so that's really nice. So thrusting attack with the roll attack, thrusting attack with the strong attack. and spinning attack like the claymore with the run. So that's always really nice. I'm one-handed. It's fine, but you don't want to use one-handed. And so basically it's just like the claymore, but has slightly better and I think faster light attacks. So next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to Andre. And if you killed that crystal lizard at the beginning, this is where it comes to matter. Use your Estus shard if you have one. This is where it comes to matter. So, if you killed that at the very beginning, you should have the Titanite scale in the required items to level this up. And now you'll see 168 plus 53. That is some much more respectable damage. You see our AR is 209. With the Claymore, it was, I think, 210? 200. Or wait, two-handed. 216. So, when you two-handed, it's 216. When you two-hand this one, it's 222. So it does 6 more damage two-handed, and has a better moveset. So I think overall this really is the best weapon to have, at least at this point. We're going to also be picking up the Black Knight Greatsword later, well, Black Knight Sword, but it's actually a Greatsword later on, because that does special effect. So certain weapons, like this one, have special effects. I'm going to teleport to Undead Settlement before I end this episode. So certain weapons like this sword that we just picked up, the Hollow Snake Greatsword, actually, as the name suggests, does extra damage to hollow enemies. For example, my AR says I should be doing 222 damage, but I believe since this weapon is hollow, I actually do more. So, obviously, with his resistances taken into account, I did 13 more damage, but I really should be doing 20. Like you do 20% extra damage against hollow enemies, so really I should have been doing 244 damage, but obviously it has slight physical resistance. So I'm going to end the episode here. I mean, the Black Knight Greatsword, I'll explain that later, what passive effect that has and why that matters. But yeah, I'm going to end the episode here, and we'll do the second half of the Undead Settlement, which has some secrets, some NPCs, that I'll get to later. So, see ya.